Spoilers ahead for Star Trek Strange New Worlds Episode 10, A Quality of Mercy, and other Star Trek things. Yeah. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of The Script Department. Today, Brad and I are here to delve into the series finale of Star Trek Strange New Worlds Season 1, which is very, very exciting. But before we get into that, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. We've got all kinds of interesting stuff over at the Script Department website, thescriptdepartment.net. We do loads of stuff over there. It's very, very cool. You can check us out on audio versions of this. You can check us out on YouTube. There are versions of what we do all over the internet, wherever you get your podcasts. So don't forget to go and check that stuff out. And also, if you really want to, you could buy us a coffee because it keeps us energized and excited about all of the stuff that we do here. So check that out in the link below. I'm rushing through this because I'm so excited to talk to you, Brad, about A Quality of Mercy, Star Trek Strange New Worlds Episode 10. What a fun ride,
It
eh?
was a fun ride.
And you know what's really funny is that in the last episode I said that we were discussing, I said, yeah, time travel episodes I'm really not that keen on. Because we were talking about the fairy tale one, and you said it was my least favorite trope, and I was like, yeah, for me it's that and time travel. Well, pass my words back to me. I will eat them all up because this was a ride.
Well, it was weird. It was a weird. I always find going forward time travel because technically it was a foreshadowing episode, right? Like because going forward time travel, if you are in the version of time travel where you can change your past, it doesn't matter. Like you're going to change your own past by living it from learning the future. It's just it was fun. I liked it. It also showed some of the holes in my knowledge about the original series. Particularly Kirk's brother, not his father. Yeah,
George, I know. We have Star Trek egg all over our face.
Yeah,
because this whole time we've been going, oh, it's his dad. Oh, it's really weird.
Same name, to be fair. They don't say junior or senior, so it was an honest mistake. But and there was a lot of stuff in there. Like I didn't necessarily get straight away, but I was like, oh, hang on a minute, they're saying something here, and then when you Google it, you're like, that's what Easter egg. I like that. And it's there was a lot going on. I really enjoyed it. I liked the fact that there was some sort of closure around him because that's what really the entire season's been about. It's gone on and off of Pike's journey, but it's always been there bubbling away, and sometimes it's been more intense than others because this is straight off the back of Discovery, or a few months after the back of Discovery, where he discovered he was going to become a guy in a box with a light on the front and he couldn't do anything, and it was just it's
can't do anything.
That classic shot in the original season, which is the original series, which has also been replicated in Discovery and in Strange New Worlds, and it's chilling. And it is. We've got a little bit of closure here, which I really enjoyed. Like he seemed to accept his fate, which is really hard to do when you're that kind of character. And you do anything to make things work, and it was all about that and all about how he actually did accept it. And I thought the writing was very tight around his arc, even though it went off on different little adventures. It was always there. I really enjoyed the structure. Good.
I agree with you. I would say there was an element of, I struggled a little bit with the Spock element of this particular episode, because I think that I like the fact that we've got some closure. I like the fact that he's made his peace with his fate, and he will not be changing that, because that is, getting to know a character like Christopher Pike, you begin to realize, okay, he's going to try and do something about this, because why would he not? He's just enough. He's that perfect middle ground between Kirk and Picard, where he's got enough of the Kirk rule breaker, but also the you know what I'm talking about, of Picard. So I like that they've kind of sealed that up, and they've gone, okay, no, you can't do that because people are going to die, and that's whatever. I'm really torn on it, so I want to talk it out with you, because this whole element of Spock being eventually the catalyst for him accepting his fate.
Mm.
And the whole business of him sitting there and sort of saying, "Oh, it's not every day you get to save somebody's life. Give up your own life twice in one day," or something like that.
Yeah.
For someone, and I like all that. I just feel as though he's already got the motivation. He's already it's the death of millions, billions potentially. It's galactic war. It's everything like that. And I feel as though maiming Spock to give him that final push over the edge, my gut reaction, and I have arguments for my point again here, but I think that maiming Spock in the way they did undercuts the duty of Pike and the moral kind of fortitude of that individual.
Mm.
And because in the end, it's not about the fact it's like, well, I'm giving up my life to save to prevent war and things like that. I'm giving up my life to save one person, which flies
Yes.
in the face of the good needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few and the one.
Yes.
It kind of does, it kind of doesn't. What do you think to that point? Because I've wrestled with this a little bit.
I don't know. I think they layered in an extra bit. It was almost like Doctor Strange and Tony Stark. They layered in a little extra bit where it was like, we've looked at a lot of possible futures here, and he dies in every one. And in this, it's basically saying that he's the most important person here. It's not that Pike isn't important, or that Kirk isn't important, that anyone else is important. It's saying that he is the key to all of their
Hmm.
successes, and we kind of get that. It's never been said, but we kind of get that from the Star Trek original films, all of the uh, different franchises that Spock pops up in.
Yeah,
He's the core of everything, and it's like, of
yeah,
course he is. I kind of, you know that, but someone saying it to you makes it, I
yeah.
don't know, echo a
It
bit
tie
louder, I
it
guess.
does tie everything together, and this is my counter to my own kind of query, is that in doing this, it brings up the original series, of course,
Hmm.
um, Discovery, because it links in that, then Discovery in the future when you see how important Spock was with reunification, which they reference directly, which is also picked up in Picard and the Next Generation as
Hmm.
well. But also it just ties in. It ties so much together in that one kind of act of saying he's got things to do, galaxy saving kind of things.
Yes.
It ties it all together really neatly. But I don't know that you I don't know, it felt like a bridge too far. I feel like that could have been something they could have done elsewhere. I don't think that the impetus for Pike to not save himself and those other people in the future should have been Spock. I think it should have been the galaxy as a large. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I do. I don't know if I agree though. I feel that he needed that extra push.
Hmm.
The faceless, although they have, of course, they had faces, but the children that grew up into the people that he never really knew, or he might get to know them in the future. Like maybe that
Hmm.
wasn't enough for him to sacrifice his
Yeah.
life. And then it wasn't just Spock though. It was the fact that if Spock dies, the whole of humanity, like millions and millions of people, will be slaughtered in war. So it's
That's a
not
good point.
necessarily
Yeah.
about Spock; it's about humanity and the Romulans. They would have lost
Mm.
millions and millions of people as well. And it's like I think that Spock is the hook for it, but he can then go, great. I will go to my, well, it's not his grave. I will go to my grisly future with a
Mm.
smile on my face because I know
Yeah.
now I am going to save humanity. Effectively, I'm going to
Mm.
save the biggest war we will have ever faced. And it's
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
he needed that. But I see what you're saying, that he has now offered his own maiming up instead of Spock's maiming. I understand
Hmm.
that's like there is a little bit of a Route One sort of approach to that,
Yeah.
but I think the story surrounding it is, I think it's the size of sacrifice he needed to just
Sure.
go, okay, cool, I got 7 years. I'll see
Yeah.
you
No.
see you on the
Totally.
other
And
side.
yeah, and I guess the see you on this side. I guess the I guess the personal stakes and everything for the audience as well. I get that. But maybe what I needed was a little bit of foreshadowing or something like that in the way it
Mm,
was written. Maybe something to say. this is about Spock as well from the get go, because you have Pike and him sit down and have that conversation.
Yes.
Maybe it just needed a little bit more of something, but I think I'm nitpicking. This was a great episode.
Mm.
This was a really great episode. So just to quickly recap on that, because you mentioned up the top there. Now I've had my Spock therapy, and I thank you for that.
Anytime.
Maybe this is what we should call Star Trek series from now on. It's just Spock therapy. Yeah.
Sometimes we have to do a Pike intervention.
A Pike intervention. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. Maybe it's Chekhov's Spock. I don't know.
Yes.
Anyway, so this whole episode plays with the, as you mentioned up top, plays with the idea of time travel, and we're seeing an alternate future, and we get a little nod to the Kelvin as well at the very end, blink and you miss it moment, which is kind of a nice nod to the fact that we've got an alternate reality that played out that didn't come to be, and things like that. Lovely stuff, layered, very nice, very good. But really, what that's so interesting is this is a redo of Balance of Terror from the original series, and even to the point, it's almost shot for shot, I believe, on the when the Romulans appear and everyone turns to look at Spock. You have that wonderful TOS music come in. Dun, 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 which is apparently the only tense music they had back in the 60s when they were making it. But you get that kind of musical cue there, and as you said, there's a lot of stuff that comes up. It's such a neat way of tying this together, and it was really fun. As you said up top, really to go back through and kind of look at this again and go, ooh.
Yeah, cool. I think there was some great the little music licks they did in there. When Kirk walks onto the bridge, there's a little twinkly mnemonic, and you're like, there it is. There's the original.
That's the guy.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought I thought it was really smart how they revisited this episode, which was the I had to Google this, but it's the first time we got. And it wasn't Spock's dad; it was the guy who played Spock's dad, Mark Leonard.
Yeah.
He was a Romulan in it, and it was like cool. He's the first. He was the commander, and first then Romulan, and then all of a sudden he was Sarek, wasn't he? He came as the first Sarek we had, and I like the history of that and how we got it, and the fact that this is how reality changes if you don't just accept your fate, and the fact that we weren't, well, if you were me, because my knowledge isn't as strong as yours, but if you had seen that episode already, it wasn't a new picture that was being painted. It was an alternate picture of a show that was made 35 years ago, and I was like, wow. If not, is it beyond that now? I can't.
Oh, way
beyond that. What am I talking about? 50.
60, it was the 60s. Yeah, it was nearly 60 years old. Yeah.
Yeah. So it
was actually it was aired in 1967. So says my stuff in front of me.
55 years ago.
Oh, sorry, 66. It was first aired December 15th, 66, and then re-aired 67. Yeah,
and that is
yeah,
brilliant. I love that. It's like the writers have gone, oh my god, look what we get to do here. That would have been so much fun to be able to do that, and sort of take something that is so sacred to many, and just and they treat it with kid gloves. I haven't read any angry rants about this on the internet. It was well received, and I think that it would have been very, very exciting to be in the writers' room for that one.
I think you're right. Yeah. This felt like an anniversary episode. I thought, like the way they went back and did that. There's that great Voyager episode where they go back to the events of the voyage home, I think, and you see Tuvok on the bridge with Sulu, and you kind of get that intercut and everything like that. And then, of course, the Deep Space Nine episode, the Trials and Tribulations, which is just an absolute joy to watch. And this felt a little bit like that. I thought it's in a very modern way. This is what they're doing. They're going back and they're treading over this new stuff while saying, but it is literally the perfect metaphor for it, because it's like, here we are doing the same thing you recognize, but we're doing it in a new way. And
Mhm.
this is literally what Strange New Worlds is, isn't it? It's the thing you recognize in a different way.
Mm.
And I absolutely loved it. I also think it's really interesting. I just want to praise Anson Mount just for he's the first time I've seen a performance of somebody playing an older version of themselves where I've gone, yeah, that's exactly what he'd be like, rather than it being, oh, look at that guy with the prosthetics and he's doing a funny voice. Oh, old man. Like that, it was so perfectly
Yeah.
balanced. I thought he just gravelly enough to make it work, and also, of course, the return of the that wonderful red uniform, which
Yes.
was just so great.
Which was the Wrath of Khan era. So it's like, yes, I love that. That's one of my favorite uniforms. And he's
Yeah,
obviously got his there was a nice different sheen to it. It got like a ripply, almost like
yeah,
lizard skin in a way. Like it was really
yeah.
interesting
It
what
was a
they'd
bit,
done
yeah,
with it. I like
yeah.
that.
I think it was
Um
the Delta. I think they had on it because they've got it on the yellow, the gold costume as well. The sort of the
mm,
Starfleet Delta across the shoulders and stuff like that.
yeah.
I think that's what they had on that as well. Yeah,
Ah,
it's nice.
okay, right. Yeah, I thought it was great. I thought he did a very good older version of himself. I didn't immediately recognize his voice. He's obviously done a lot of
Mm.
old person acting in his time. It's been to
Old
the Old
person.
Person Acting Academy, but he nailed it. He was really really good.
Yeah,
I like that we now have a clear run at the next 6 seasons of this thing,
yeah,
because that could have been. Of course, it's going to pop up again,
of
but
course.
that could have been over him the entire time, and I don't think he would have been able to be Captain Pike
No,
if the
it would have
entire
weighed him
time he was
down for sure.
lamenting his own demise. But
Mm.
it feels like we now have a clear run at the next 6 seasons, and I'm calling it. We're going to see him agree to go into his well, if he doesn't get out of it, because I don't think he will now. Agree to just go into the bridge or the training session wherever this happens, and you'll
Hmm.
just get a nod and a wink and say, he'll say see you on the other side, and then the doors will close and that'll be it. End of the season.
I
It's
think
like
you're right.
yes,
Yeah,
he's a hero.
full
Yeah.
circle. Yeah, I wonder. I do wonder if we'll get because now we have, and we'll talk about the recasting of Kirk
Mm.
in a minute because I mean, how can we not? But I do wonder now we have Kirk recast and they've gone for it. They've really gone for it as well by recasting Kirk.
Mm.
I wonder if perhaps we will. There's precedent to see them redo or take on elements from um, the original series episode where Pike is returned to Talos. I
Yes.
forget the name of that episode, but there's something there that maybe we'll see a little bit of that, or maybe they'll do a Discovery style where they go, they put frame in frame of what originally happened. I don't know, but I agree with you. That would just be such a satisfying ending to a little nod to camera. Here we go. This is what's
Yeah,
happening.
I think
Would be
they,
lovely.
well they've now set themselves up to do some pretty cool stuff. Was it the Menagerie? Was that the one where he goes back, or is it? I
Was
can't
it the
remember.
Menagerie? No, I can't
Or
remember
is it
either.
the Strange? Oh, I can't remember. Anyway, yes, that I would like to see that because it's satisfying to see him get his peace, and he's going to live an awesome life in, I guess,
yeah,
somewhat a fantasy, but like that could be quite
sure.
cool too. And the again
It's the
googling my
Menagerie. Yeah,
filling in my was it the Menagerie?
it is
Yes,
Menagerie.
I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
about to
Good
say
work,
about
man. Good work.
my terrible knowledge of the TOS. I was like, yes, I've nailed it. But anyway, my other terrible knowledge of TOS, there's an episode with Kirk's brother, and he's got a moustache. It's basically William
Oh,
Shatner with a moustache, right? That's why there was all the attention on the moustache in the first
on the
two episodes where
moustache.
Sam turns up, and yeah, there's a moustache. I'm looking at the picture
Ah,
right now. So
no
yeah,
way.
and he gets killed. I haven't seen this episode, but this after the googling, I'm like, oh yeah, there's
Yeah,
Kirk with a moustache, and he's dead. Oh yeah, it's his brother.
it's his brother. Yeah, it's so interesting because the original series for me, I've seen all of it a few times. Like I've been through it several times, but I haven't revisited it for probably 7 or 8 years,
Yeah.
because I prefer, and it's just my opinion. I was always a Next Generation person and that kind of era of Star Trek, so that's the one I go back to when I'm kind of revisiting Star Trek. I don't tend to go back to the original series, but I am slowly doing it now and slowly going through it. So that's so interesting. I'll keep an eye out for that, and maybe we'll do maybe we should do a original series recap episode at some point.
Oh
We
yeah.
go where we screenwriters rewatch Star Trek the original series. That's a big that's a big episode, that one.
So yeah, I mean, I had the original. I mean, I'm not too many years older than you, Marcus. I'm not that old, but a little bit older than you. And I remember watching the first episode of Next Generation, thinking, and my dad was like, "Do you think he's better than Kirk?" Because I had so much of experience with Kirk at that point in my life.
Of course, yeah.
I remember saying, "No way, no one's better than Kirk." And then,
yeah,
a few episodes in, I was like,
it's Picard,
pretty good. This guy's pretty awesome.
Pretty
so
good.
yeah, I was on the cusp, because obviously I the newer things around me with the motion pictures, and the the original series was just repeated on TV again and again and again.
Yeah,
and that was when we had 4 channels.
Yeah.
Back in the day.
Back in the day.
Yeah, that was I think that's an interesting idea that we would revisit the original series. I also had the PC game, which was amazing. It was almost like a type your own adventure game. There were a few clicks and button pushes that weren't typing in words, but it was good, and it got all the right door noises and the music and everything was there. I mean, it was very pixelated. It was like blip 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 blip, but it had got the audio cues in it, which I always found like made an entire game like that. And so that, and then
100%.
that was my series before Next Generation took me away.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's I think we should do that, definitely.
I think we should do that. I think that'd be really fun. I'm annoyed actually. I missed it today because I was watching Nope for an upcoming review of that. But at the same time, and it's the only slot I could get to today, but at the same time, they were showing the Star Trek motion picture director's cut in the same cinema. And I walked past it going, oh no. I didn't know because I would have such a shame.
Were you just banging on that little window going, Vija?
Yeah. I know it's a different episode, but just every time I think of William Shatner on the big screen, I think of him going, what does God need with a starship? Every single time without fail. I just love it so much. Speaking of Shatner, speaking of Shatner's performance and things like that, we have Paul Wesley stepping into the role as Kirk. How good was that segue? I'm just going to say that was brilliant.
It was good. It was very good. It's like you planned it
between it. Yeah. It's like I planned it. Yeah, and I've ruined it by pointing it out now, but never mind. Paul Wesley as Kirk. What was your take on this? I haven't seen kind of general internet opinion. So what do you think?
He's got some massive shoes to fill. Like, this will be one of the most scrutinized recastings of TV history. Like, it is that big. It is that an established character. And has anyone else ever played him? Like
Chris Pine. Chris Pine did for Kelvin.
Like in a what will become a weekly, an episodic.
I don't think so.
Has anyone else ever stepped into the shoes where they're going to do what we could get 60 more episodes with or around Kirk? Like,
I don't think so. No, I think this is the first time. Yeah.
I think it is a big thing to do. Chris Pine did an amazing job. He did a great Kirk, an alternate Kirk, albeit he was an alternate Kirk with a different history. Yep. This is the same Kirk. So this is, I like what he's doing. I don't think we got enough of him to really see if he's doing a Shatner or if he's doing a new version. We didn't get too much aping of William Shatner here. Like, there wasn't the overacting of the words that just made him such a wonderful, like, Captain Kirk to watch. But I don't know. I think I need to see more of him to really decide. I liked
Mhm.
him. He had a really stoic confidence to him beyond Pike. Pike was
Mm.
worried that he was like some sort of lunatic when then actually he's like, oh no, he's a really good captain and
Yeah.
he's got some, he's got a really good gut for everything he's doing here.
Yeah.
And
Well, he
yeah,
was right,
I
as it
I
turns
liked
out, you know?
yeah, yeah, Kirk was right.
Yeah. Yeah. And that, I
Yeah,
think
I
that's
liked him.
it's an interesting kind of plot on the episode, really. And I'll circle back to Kirk in a second, but the fact that everything that Star Trek says about itself is, we talk first. We do not just engage. We do not, kind of shoot first, as it were. Whereas the morality of this episode is very counter to that. It's very much sometimes you have to fight, and sometimes sometimes that's the right thing to do, which is kind of Kirk's philosophy, which has proved to be correct, which I thought was very interesting. But what's interesting as well is that this is also an alternate Kirk. This is a Kirk with a not quite so different history,
Mm,
as not as different as
yeah.
kind of Pine's history, or Chris Pine's interpretation is, but it is still an alternate Kirk. He's not the captain of the Enterprise. He is perhaps a little less. Well, no, he's very sure of himself. Actually, I don't know. It's still an alternative
It
version of the
is
character, which
alternative.
is interesting.
Only
Yeah,
6 months alternative. It's
sure,
only diverged for
sure.
6 months. So yeah,
Yeah,
he could have changed a lot in 6 months. You don't know, but yeah, I mean, he's going to be pretty close to the Kirk we
yeah.
knew,
Oh, yeah,
like
absolutely.
technically the
He
Kirk
doesn't.
we knew.
Yeah, he does an interesting performance thing that Shatner did a lot, which is this sort of, kind of head down, kind of chin down to his neck, and kind of,
Mm,
yeah, and kind of the chin thing Shatner does a lot. And I think that the original series, that was a quiet confidence. For me, in
mm.
this one, I don't know that it was quite landed for me. It kind of, I was sort of looking at him going, "Why are you straining your neck? And like, sit up straight. What are you doing?"
It
Like,
felt on the
it
edge of
was,
arrogance, but I don't know if that was
yeah.
intended because we were seeing him through the lens of Pike, or
Mm,
whether it it just doesn't work that he's trying to be this
mm,
stoic Kirk guy. But I don't know.
yeah.
I liked what he was doing. I just need to see more of him.
I agree, and I
Yeah.
think it's a good decision to bring him in like this because it gives us a dry run at
Mm.
as Wesley as Kirk, without committing. They can go and they can take notes, they can look at what's happened, and they can fix anything that may need to be fixed. Not that I necessarily think there are things that need to be fixed, but I think it's a really smart way of bringing in a recasting of a character like this, as you say, one of the potentially very controversial, certainly one of the most beloved television characters of all time, possibly most beloved characters, full stop.
So
Um,
do you think we're going to get another Star Trek series after this one is done, and it's going to be a reboot of the
I
original
don't know.
series? Like,
I don't know.
what if
The
they're really good? What if everyone really likes everyone that they really cast? They might do
Mm,
that, and
they
they're not
might
going to
do
do a
that.
shot for shot, show for show remake of it. But
No,
I don't know how I feel
I.
about that. I feel weird about it.
The thing is, the original series is a bit of a stylistic outlier in
Mm,
the kind of Star Trek canon, which is
mhm.
odd given that it started it. But the Next Generation era feels very similar. It has common look and feel, has the militaristic kind of thing going on,
Yeah,
or kind of pseudo militaristic, I suppose, like quasi militaristic, and it has that kind of going for it. Then you have Picard, which sort of picks that up to a certain degree and continues it. The Lower Decks again continues that sort of
yeah,
feeling, and also Prodigy as well continues that sort of feeling. Discovery and Strange New Worlds are doing a take on the original series, but with a lot of influence for of what is to come, and
yes.
sort of looking ahead, and I think kind of joining the dots a little bit. And
Mhm.
Enterprise is sort of its own thing, doing its own thing, but again takes influence from what would be to come in the original series. All of this to say, I think I'd be okay with it, because
Yeah, I mean,
I think it might make it feel a little bit more, give it a little bit more of a common look and feel, to the world and the visuals of the world and the kind of style of the world. But I might be
I think it depends
shocked.
how the button handing goes, right?
Mhm.
They have to hand the button in the right way, otherwise it won't be a good. I don't know. It could leave a funny taste in the mouth. But
Yeah.
I'm not against it. But I'm very concerned about the idea of that. I
Mm.
don't not want it to happen though either. Like I want
I
more
know.
of this
Yeah, I
world.
know.
It's difficult. I'm conflicted about that. Yeah.
It's tough. It is really tough. I think that I don't think. I think the thing is that it would be watched by everyone, whether it was to laugh, to enjoy, to deride or praise. It would be watched by everybody. It would
Mm.
be a guaranteed um, kind of. It would be, yeah, it would be great. So it depends on whether the people making it, whether Paramount are looking at this and saying, "Oh, great, yeah, here's a surefire way we can make some cash,"
Yeah.
or if they're looking at it from the point of view of what would make a great Star Trek series. Of course, I think we all know what the priority is, but the but as you say, there's no reason why it can't be done. It can't be done well if they are going to do it. Oh, you've made me nervous,
Yeah.
Brad. I don't.
No, sorry. I do that to a
I
lot of
don't
people. I'm
know.
sorry.
I think it could be interesting. I think it'd be interesting. I'd
Yeah.
certainly watch it. I'd be interested in it.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
I
mean,
mean, so
we've got potentially 6 more years of this to
yeah,
enjoy,
yeah.
and they've set up a. I didn't feel like a massive cliffhanger. The number one being dragged away, because I mean they set that up very early on in this episode.
Mm,
Particularly if you're looking for it, you're like, well, where is she? What's happened? Okay,
yeah,
I get it. And even when they say her deception, you're like, okay, we already know what her deception is, so we know what's going to happen
mm,
here. And I think she was quite absent for the second half of this season, and
I
I
agree.
don't think that reflected well in this cliffhanger. 'Cause it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
oh, cool, great.
yeah.
So you're
Never
gonna have
mind.
to go and rescue her, yeah, or not.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
like
Exactly.
in
Whatever.
Discovery, I thought she was phenomenal. I was like, oh my god, she is amazing. Like, this is
Mm,
brilliant. And then there's a couple of episodes early on, we got a bit more of number one, and
yeah.
I enjoyed it. Not so sure about the backstory, but fine, let's go with it. And then
Sure.
she was just very vacant, very. But
Very
I
vacant.
don't know.
Very
They didn't.
absent.
They
Yeah.
seemed to not. I don't know. They seem to not commit. So I don't know
Yeah.
what's going to go
I
on with
think
that.
that I think Spock has already begun to fill that kind of number one role, as it were,
Hmm.
because I forgot when we got to the series that by this time Spock would be the first officer of the Enterprise.
Mm.
And I also forget that he's actually currently not the first officer of the Enterprise. In terms of the Strange New Worlds kind of prime timeline, I suppose. So yeah, I agree. It's I don't think we've spent enough time with her to really to say not to care is a bit harsh because I do care, but
Hmm.
I'm not sold on I'm not sold on that twist at all. I really just think it was a bit um it felt like it was put in there to be controversial and to as a little bit of a ham-fisted allegory. I think personally I felt it
Yeah.
wasn't particularly well delivered. I think you agree with that, and then then to have that as the big kind of finale twist, I don't feel compelled to come back for that. If this was on the strength of me returning to this was on the strength of the fight finale twist at the end or the seeds laid by the finale, I wouldn't be back because I'm just not interested enough in what happens.
Right.
However, the rest
Yeah.
of the show is good enough, so I will be back. But that is a problem, I think, for those that are perhaps not as into it as we are, the slightly more casual viewer. Maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know really, but certainly I agree. It's not. I don't think it's a strong enough kind of end to kind of go out on, especially because this has been so great, and so much of this has been so great. Um, you know,
Yeah.
and actually along those lines, given that this is a finale, as much as I enjoyed it, I do feel as though some of the main cast were a little shortchanged because you have the whole business with Spock coming to terms with his emotions, his rage, and things like that. You have Um, Lahar is kind of finding her humanity and finding her ability to laugh a little bit, kind of quasi Michael Burnham
Mhm.
esque there. There are some stuff that we didn't get to see any of that transpire in that last episode, and we've kind of jumped ahead, albeit to an alternate future. But like, as you said before, only 6 months alternate, so most of these things are going to be already resolved and sorted out.
Yes.
And we've
Yeah,
kind
yeah.
of, it feels a little bit like we sort of jumped to the end, and we've seen where it's going. I guess it doesn't matter overly because we already know where it's going because this is a
Yes.
prequel. But do you know what I mean? It's not so much of a complaint, more of an observation, I suppose.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're going to play with that quite a lot. I think the fact that we know where this thing is going.
Mm.
Spoilers for Better Call Saul. If anyone's not seen that thing yet, I don't know if you have, Marcus.
I know
They do.
I've not I'm one of these rare people that hasn't actually seen Breaking Bad yet as well.
So they do a very good. I'll try not to spoil it. Then they do a very good job of. Um, you already know loosely know the fate of the main character in Better Call Saul because it's a prequel. They do
Sure.
flash forwards, but because of the way the Breaking Bad went, you know that he's probably too far gone for redemption. So you're watching him slowly, you know, his ethics are slowly eroding in front of you,
Yeah.
and you know where he's going, but you don't want him to, and you can see it happening, and you're on the ride with him, and you're like, yeah, come on, you can. Oh no, I know where you're
Oh
going,
no.
and it's like
Yeah.
I think they're going to be able to do that with this. You do. I, I know I've said it's not going to be hanging over him as much as it would be, but there's no way they're going to let it go entirely. Like the
No,
fact that he's
definitely not.
building up to his own death, it just won't
Mm.
be so much of a linchpin of his arc in each of the new seasons that we're going to get.
Sure.
It is a beautiful mechanic for a writer to be able to use to just find any conflict in anything. It's like he
Yeah.
knows his fate and it's coming, and he knows this is the way to it. And
Yeah.
they can use it anytime they want. And it's like, oh, we haven't got
Yeah.
enough conflict. What about him dying thing? Shall we do that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
okay, let's
yeah,
throw
let's
that
do
in there.
that. Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
gonna be I think that it's going to be a deeper sort of emotional season than some of the other
Mhm.
franchises potentially.
I would agree with that. Yeah, I would agree with that, and also a more, and because it wouldn't be one of these reviews if I didn't get a Discovery jab in there. So a more nuanced emotional series than the Saka and Discovery stuff. But that's my last point on that. The Yeah, I agree. We'll do a retrospective on Discovery at some stage, and I'm sure we'll have another series that will come out because I'd like to actually, it would be good to actually pull that apart, that whole idea that Discovery is a bit too sweet for my liking, and see where we land on that. Perhaps we'll do
Yeah.
some Discovery therapy at some stage. But regardless, yeah, I think that there's a form of dramatic irony here that they can play with really, really well, and I think they've already started doing it, and it's working for me. And that's the thing. Along those lines, though, do you have predictions for the future? We've had a couple of your predictions for the future already. Do you have, where's this going to go? What's going to happen next season? Do you think?
Like overall, we're going to be building into the lore of Star Trek. Like we are just going to be layering and layering and layering until we're there, or near
Yeah,
enough there. We're going to see Spock's family. We're going to get. We've already got a bit of Scotty. We're going to have
yeah,
Scotty at some point. We might lose more members of that crew who are
probably.
replaced by Chekhov and Zulu, and I would imagine that would happen because you are tragically upset 2 seasons down when one of the main crew is dead, but then on walks one of the original characters, and it's like, oh my
Yeah,
god, I'm so happy and sad at the same time, and
yeah,
I think we're going to be building into the original series and maybe beyond. I don't know. I mean, we I don't think they're going to do what Discovery have done with in any way, shape,
right.
or form. But
Time
we're
travel
going to
forward.
be,
Yeah.
I think Enterprise had some interesting um, episodes where they were building into things that we already knew, and
Hmm.
I was sad that program didn't make it to the full seven. I think it's
Me
apart from the
too.
original series, it's the only one that hasn't made it to the full seven. I think it was rough what happened to it, but I think how they were building into the world that we already knew, because it was the first, was it the first prequel? It was the
It
first
was,
prequel,
yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Um, I liked what they did there. I liked how they did it, and I liked how we could see the Enterprise develop into the
Mm.
Enterprise. It's like, oh
Yeah,
right, they don't have shields right now. They, it's
yeah.
not there yet.
Hull
And
plating, yeah.
I,
Phase cannons, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I know we're only 5.5 years, or what is it, 6 years? Is that what he says? There's 6 years left or something? No, 7 years left. So we'll
Yeah,
have,
7 years, yeah.
following this, we'll have 6 years left. So I know there's only 6 years between this and what we do know, but I think that will provide some juicy writing opportunities to, as we've
Mhm.
seen, like what they did with this episode, where it was revisiting shot for shot another season, another series that was
Yeah.
so like decades and decades ago, and it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like that. I want more of that.
Yeah.
I hope there's more of that. I think we'll have more characters from the original series brought in, um,
Mhm.
and I don't know. I'm a bit unsure about how and where they'll go with it, because I don't think they're going to have any wars. I don't think that's in the history of it.
No.
Like, I don't think there's anything there like that.
No,
Obviously
I don't think so.
on war and all sorts of other things in Discovery, but I don't know. I don't know. We might get Klingons in it. We might not. I don't know. I can't remember if Discovery had. Um, I can't remember where Discovery left it with the Klingons, because obviously
Mm.
they slightly changed the canons
Yeah.
somewhat. So I don't know where it's going to be, but why not? Why wouldn't we see
Why
them?
not?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, we've also got the Gorn. The Gorn is a big. That's, I think, this crew's big bad. I think, isn't it?
yeah.
The Gorn threat and things like that. But we also know that. Oh, yeah, they've got Pirate Lady as well, which Pirate Captain Lady that
Do you
kind of
think she's
links
coming
in with.
back?
Yeah, I do.
I
Oh,
don't.
it was too much of a.
I
It
don't
was
know.
too much of a wink to camera. Like, I don't really care if she does or not. It didn't make a huge impression on me, that, but I think so. I have a feeling she'll be back.
Maybe.
But what I find really interesting, because this, and it's not something they foreshadowed within this, but we know that there is going to be a Strange New Worlds crossover with Lower Decks, which is
Oh yeah.
one of the weirdest, like, combination of things that you can think of, But I assume this is going to be an episode of Lower Decks where they have a holodeck program or something like that, or they time travel backwards, or perhaps the crew of the Cerritos end up traveling backwards and they become
Hmm.
physically their characters and stuff like that. All things possible. But
Yeah.
what that leads me to is the fact that Pike existing on Talos means that I don't know how it works exactly, other than the fact that I know Vina was much older than she appeared to be in that original episode and then in the Discovery episode. I wonder if that means that we have an almost Nexus kind of vibe. Could Pike
Yeah.
pop up in
Yeah.
very, very much future episodes? Could there be? Could you have a data bank sort of situation come up, and Jean-Luc Picard says, the only person we can possibly have to save the day is Christopher Pike, who technically still exists, and now we have the technology to reverse his aging thing. Da-da-da! Let's fix him, and then
Yeah.
suddenly Pike pops up in the 24th century.
Yeah.
How interesting, 25th or 26th, I can't remember.
The future.
26th,
The
I
future's
think it'd be.
future.
The future, exactly. Could that be how they link these things
Yeah.
together? I don't know. Very interesting
Yeah.
storytelling possibility.
Yeah.
Um,
I think they might. He might just go up like a firework and explode in this series. I don't know. There's something so bittersweet about it. I know we're gonna get. We forgot about Spock's brother, Cybok. We're gonna get him.
yeah,
We had
yeah,
a silhouette
true.
looking over the shoulder. That is, I'm gonna be in another episode. Not a wink from Pirate
100%.
Captain.
Pirate Captain
Like,
Lady,
yeah,
yes.
Pirate Captain Lady. Like, he's
Yeah.
gonna be good. I mean, that one shot we got of him, he looked terrifying. They were saying this is a terrifying person here. He is an
Yeah.
extremist, and he's gonna cause some trouble for these guys. And
Yeah.
why not in the next season? I think it would be a mistake to leave that there and then not do anything with it till season 3. So thinking back, there is a very high chance that we're going to get Spock's brother as the antagonist in this next season. Yeah.
Regardless of what we get, I'm so excited for what may come. This has been such a wonderful series and such a treat, and I don't know about you. I already miss it. I want to be back on the. I miss them. I miss them. They're like friends. I want to be back hanging out with them. And yeah, but this is not the last for us discussing this season of Strange New Worlds, Brad. We will have a retrospective coming up, I believe, next month in September, possibly a little later than that. We're going to have the wonderful Una McCormack come to join us to talk about Star Trek Strange New Worlds kind of retrospectively and to look at the season as a whole. So if you're into these discussions, if you've enjoyed our take on it, that'll be a really great one not to be missed. And go check out my conversation with her about her book, which is actually hidden by my pop filter there, but there are some books over there, and I believe it's actually one of them there. I might be wrong about that, so apologies if I am, but it's great. You should go read it. But yeah, so you can check back in with us in September. We've got all kinds of Star Trek stuff we need to cover. We need to I need to talk to you about Discovery and how I feel about that, because I feel so many things. So we need to do that. We're going to have Picard season 3 coming soon. We've got Lower Decks season 3 coming soon.
It will not be called Picard season 3 from now on. It's going to be called Next Generation season 8. We know that for a fact. It will be the big reunion we've all been hoping for, which I'm 100%. Extremely excited about.
Oh my god, me too.
Yeah.
Me too. Can you imagine though if Pike just pops up in the middle of it just for no reason at all? I don't know if I'd love that or hate that, but just kind of go. If you know in that first episode where he materializes between the two arguing people, he's like, "Hi."
Yeah.
Can you imagine he just pops up between like Beverly and Picard or something? I don't know.
Yes.
That's just nonsense, but
nice. Why not?
So much fun. Why not? Why the hell not? Brad, thank you for journeying with me to where to where all of YouTube has gone before us, as we've ventured through Star Trek Strange New Worlds episodes. Well, the first series of that. It's been a joy. Thank you for that, and
pleasure.
And thank you guys for joining us as well. If you've stuck with us for the whole journey, we thank you very much. There will be much more to come. Go check out our other stuff too, because there's loads of stuff. So yeah. Thanks, man. And for all of you, I was going to say live long and prosper, but that's just too corny, isn't it, to do? So I'll just wave and say bye.